Hello, welcome to this video. My name's Andy. This is a flip preaching video, so we're going to have a look at the Bible passage for Sunday, and it's not a great one actually. I really struggled to know what to make of this, and I haven't got many great ideas. So you may as well stop watching now. But if you want to carry on, I've got one idea, I think. So you may know that the church, all the churches actually around the world, different denominations, we follow the same pattern of Bible readings called the lectionary, and it runs on a yearly cycle, in fact a 3-yearly cycle. And the coming Sunday is the end of the current year. We've been looking at the book of Mark in many of these videos since sort of last December, and next week after next, it's Advent, which means it's the start of a new year. So we change our gospel and we change to Luke. So we've been looking at Mark an awful lot, but we're going to switch to have a look at Luke's gospel, and that's exciting. It's always good to have a change. But the gospel so it goes in a 3-year cycle: Matthew, Mark, Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke. And the Gospel of John is kind of sliced up and interspersed in all of the years. And in fact, today's passage is from John. If you're interested, this Sunday has a name. It's called the Reign of Christ the King. And it's quite a recent invention, this day. It doesn't go back many years at all. And I think the Roman Catholic Church sort of pushed for this to be included as a special Sunday. So the Bible passage is one of the ones where we talk about Jesus being a king, and it's taken from the book of John, as we've said, and it's John 18:33 to 37. So near the end of the book of John, this is Jesus and Jesus being questioned by Pilate after he's been arrested, and Pilate's trying to find out whether Jesus is guilty of the charges put before him, and he accuses him of being the king of the Judeans. Sometimes we translate that as the king of the Jews. And he asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Judeans?" Now, for Pilate, that would have been an interesting, but that would have been the thing that would make him guilty, because Pilate was the governor of Judea. So Pilate was effectively the king of the Jews. He was the ruler of the Jews because Judea was a Roman empire, part of the Roman Empire. They'd installed Herod, incidentally, in Galilee to the north as a kind of puppet ruler. But for Judea, where Jerusalem was, the Roman Empire had direct rule through its governor, Pilate. So he wants to know if Jesus is claiming to be the king of the Judeans, which would be a political revolutionary threat. And Jesus never really answers. He never really says yes, but he does say that he has a kingdom that doesn't come from this world. Jesus uses this opportunity to set up a contrast between the kingdom, the Roman Empire, the Roman kingdom, and his kingdom, which is from somewhere else. And the thought that I had, which I like in these videos to try and share something which is kind of new to me that may be new to you too. In the last verse of this, so verse 37, Jesus says that I've come into the world, or the cosmos. So I've come into the cosmos. Now, the word cosmos throughout the book of John means the kind of man-made world of stuff. So it's the stuff that we've made, all the powers and institutions and nations, all the stuff that people have produced. So our culture. Jesus has come into this cosmos that he'll testify to the truth. Now, the word truth, I think, is quite an interesting one, because the Greek word aletheia originally meant nothing to hide. So Jesus says he comes into the world to testify, to be martyred. The word martyr is the word for is used here. So he's going to be martyred to the truth. So he's going to testify. He's going to show what it's like to have nothing to hide. Because of course the Roman Empire, mighty as it was deeply flawed. All of our human institutions are deeply flawed. We've got something to hide. But Jesus talks about truth, nothing to hide. And in contrast, Pilate realizes that his kingdom is a very different thing. But Jesus, the true kingdom, there is nothing to hide. Now the Roman Empire was to fail a few years later, well, a few centuries later. All the man-made stuff that we produce, all the things that we make, our money and our military forces and all of that has plenty to hide. It's all compromised and it's all going to go. But Jesus's kingdom of God has nothing to hide. It's got integrity. It's absolutely rock solid and it will last forever. So the challenge for us is to be people who have nothing to hide, people who live in the truth. And even though it's hard to see that sometimes, it takes faith to trust. We've got to be people who live for the truth with nothing to hide. And we find that in God. Okay, that was my limited thought. I'm sorry I've not been able to dig much into this passage. But next week we get onto the book of Luke, and the book of Luke is brilliant. Okay, thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.